Turning our attention now to federal politics, the Prime Minister's arrived in Glasgow for the most highly anticipated COP climate talks in recent memory, the Glasgow talks. But it hasn't been a smooth start to his overseas visit at the G20. The French president effectively called him a liar on the sidelines of that summit in Rome. Here's our political editor, Andrew Clennell.
Scott Morrison began his day at the G20, joining other world leaders in tossing a coin in the Trevi Fountain. But if Mr Morrison's wish was for the French submarine controversy to go away, that wish was surely not granted. French President Emmanuel Macron, collared by Australian journalists in the corridor at the G20 Summit Centre, did not hold back when asked about the AUKUS agreement and the cancelled $90 billion French submarine contract.
AUKUS deal was very bad news for France, but not just for France, because I think it's a very bad news for credibility and of Australia, and a very bad news for the trust.
Think he lied to you?
I don't think. I know.
Mr Macron asked there whether the Australian Prime Minister had lied to him, and he said, "I don't think, I know that's the case." He also said the episode had caused damage to Scott Morrison's reputation. Mr Morrison said he told Mr Macron at the Elysee Palace at a dinner in June that Australia was looking to have other than conventional submarines.
President Macron told a couple of us around the corner that you didn't tell him the truth on the subs deal. In fact, he said that you might have lied. Is that true?
No.
He said that what happened was detrimental to your reputation. What do you say to that?
I'll always stand up for Australia's interests.
Are you saying that you lied then?
He's also accused you. He says he doesn't think you lied to him, he knows you lied to him.
I don't agree with that.
Has he not told you that to your face? You saw him today, you saw him yesterday. He just said to a camera, "I don't think you lied to him." He knows you lied to him.
Well, it's not true.
What are you going to do to repair the relationship? Because he said he was pretty clear that you need to do something to repair the relationship.
Well, we've begun that process.
But he obviously doesn't feel that way.
Well, there'll be some time, I think, to go down this process, but we've begun it. We've spoken several times over the last couple of days. I'm sure we'll speak a bit more before I head back to Australia. But let me be very clear. The decision I've taken as Prime Minister, that my government has taken, was in Australia's national interest. I don't resolve for it for 1 second. These decisions are difficult. Of course, it has caused disappointment and it has caused an impact on the relationship with France. But I'm not going to put that interest higher than Australia's national interest, and I don't think any Australian would expect me to do the same.
It was also a setback at the G20 for the aspirations of the American and British governments for all nations to commit to net zero emissions by 2050. The communiqué, nutted out after negotiations with China and India, had that goal be reached at or near the middle of the century. Scott Morrison said that developed countries shouldn't tell developing countries what to do, but technology would get the world to the net zero target. At the same time either, like 2050 is what you've signed up to. The big emitters aren't signing up to that. How much of a concern is that? That really weakens the COP26 result, doesn't it?
Look, let me speak to Australia's performance, and you've heard me say it many times, and I'm going to tell you again. There are only 4 countries that sit around the G20 table that have a larger reduction in their emissions since 2005 than Australia: Germany, Italy, France, and the United Kingdom. There is only one other country, other than Australia, who has had a greater reduction in their emissions intensity, as expressed as a percentage of their GDP. That's the United Kingdom. Australia ranks second in the G20. So we're getting it done. The idea that we're going to take developing economy models and force them on developed economy models and force them on developing economies and say, this is the path you must travel, that is not going to work.
Mr Morrison was clearly frustrated by Mr Macron's comments, even accusing Australian journalists of taking selfies with the French leader. He now travels to Glasgow for the COP26 climate conference, where he will give an address promoting technology over taxes in terms of reaching the net zero target.